Okay, I don't think it's picking up my camera. I think it's being used by something else. All right, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so this is Lee here. I just wanted to make a quick video for those people who come to this YouTube channel for the podcast. They Must Be Destroyed on Site podcast. I make a YouTube version alongside the audio version every week, and I don't upload them as frequently as the audio versions come out because it takes some work and some time to do. And so I've been doing that for years. Never really had a problem doing it because I always knew there was a little segment of our listeners that would use the YouTube version. And that was all fine and dandy. And I did it more of as a convenience thing because, people go where they're comfortable going to listen to their podcasts and stuff like that they want to, take in. So I knew there was people who, will have the YouTube just playing in the background. And that's cool. But it's gotten to the point where the work put in to making the YouTube version just isn't worth the time for me anymore. So don't think this is like the end of the podcast or anything like that. It's just the end of the YouTube version of the podcast. The biggest reason I'm doing this is just YouTube is so incredibly obtuse and hard to work with when it comes to uploading stuff that might have, copyrighted music on it and shit. Now, my channel is not monetized. I don't make any money on this channel. Haven't for years. Because I was kind of hoping I could, evade a lot of these problems. I mean, I wasn't really making money on this channel at all anyway. It was like $100 every year and a half or something like that. So it wasn't fucking worth it at all. But problem is now, YouTube's copyright system is so fucking stupid. They're so concerned with protecting themselves that they bend over for anybody. They bend over for any company that wants to make any claim, no matter how frivolous it is. Usually you can get by, right? Like 99.9999% of the time, I upload a YouTube version of our podcast, whatever sort of music I have playing in it that, I don't own the copyright to. Usually it picks up with one of the companies on YouTube. They say, hey, you got our music in there, so we're going to play ads on your video. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. Because then that leaves it to the end user who's listening to the podcast. They can either suffer the ads that pop up and, send a little bit of coin to the company that actually owns the music, or they can just put on fucking ad blocker, right? And not have to worry about that bullshit at all. But here's the real problem. Sometimes these frivolous claims will pop up. And what happens is YouTube doesn't give you a real way to dispute it. Like, they've got very set in stone options you can pick to dispute a video copyright claim on music or whatever. And if it doesn't fit these very specific criteria, you have no wiggle room. You have no way around going forward and explaining your case. You have to pick something specifically that fits in tune, and it's worded that way. It's worded that way to trap people and to stop people from disputing claims. That's just the way it is. So today I was uploading the latest batch of video versions of the podcast that I had made in the last week or so. And one of the episodes, our episode on Vampire in Venice, Nosferatu in Venice, had two pieces of music from Vangelis in it. They were incorrectly hit by copyright claims by the company that owns the rights to the Beatles. and it said the Beatles, the Saints Go Marching In, or some bullshit, whatever fucking song, right? But that's not the song. But I have no way of disputing that because it's very specific. Like, what is your claim? Do you claim you own the rights to this song? Do you claim that it's in the public domain? Basically, those are your options. You can't say there's no option saying no. Your stupid system picked up the wrong fucking music. It picked up the wrong song and made a mistake. You can't dispute that. It doesn't let you go forward to the part where you actually write out in text like, here's my case. So I'm not gonna fuck with that anymore. I'm just too frustrated by this bullshit. Too many years, too much work. I've wasted too many hours making video versions of the podcast for YouTube, and I'm not going to go and do more work by going back in and editing music out from the final product and making some weird shortened version for YouTube. If that loses any listeners from the podcast who don't want to go the audio route, sorry. Uh, Sorry to see you go. Whatever. I don't even know if that's going to be an issue or whatever with anybody, but I wanted to put that out there for people. So if there's anyone who's like wondering why they're not going to see any more YouTube versions of the podcast after today, well, here's the reason. It's just too much work, frivolous stuff that honestly I could be better spent doing something else. So yeah. Uh Thanks for listening, guys, and I hope you keep listening to the podcast just with the audio version. There's a link down to the Podbean site in the description, and of course you can go to Apple Podcasts, and we're on tons of podcatchers too. So we're not hard to find. You just have to find the audio version. That's all. All right. Cheers. Signing off. Bye bye.